What's up, everybody? It's Sergio here with 8Z Real Estate, and I had an opportunity to sit down with a friend of mine, Austin, who is the owner and founder of Ethos Performance Research here in Denver, Colorado. Ethos Performance Research is a company that is creating supplements that allows you to operate at the highest level of performance, whether you're in business or in sports. And their thought is, this is where nature meets science. Your mind, your brain is your most important asset. It's a vastly complex system that needs certain nutrients to maximize its potential. Your body, the only one we get in this life, is the vessel in your life. You get out what you put in. And age is becoming an arbitrary number when you talk to Ethos. We're at the forefront of nutrient science to ensure your body stays in peak performance regardless of age. Their goal is to create well-being, and well-being can be summed up as health and happiness. The company ensures that your mind and body are aligned, which enables you to focus on things that make you happy, connecting with people, and achieving your goals. So take a quick moment, check out the next clip, our interview. It is a great one, and check it out. So they did all the due diligence for you?
They're doing all the due diligence for me, and she even introduced me to some stuff. I don't know that we qualified just yet.
Yeah.
But apparently to facilitate through trial, they're trying to get more exports going.
Okay.
And, they're giving out $50,000 grants to startups to start exporting the product.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You can use it for whatever to sell overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we applied for that, and they said we probably won't get approved.
Okay.
Just because you have to have I think a year and a half at least of sales.
Okay.
We've only been selling the product for 5 months now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
And then she set us up with, have you ever heard of Segment? The analytics?
No.
So if you look up segment.com, she set us up with them. They give us $25,000 in credit.
Okay.
So it's basically 2 years of their top end product for free.
Really?
Yeah. No requirements, no contractual obligations, nothing.
Interesting. That's pretty, just because they wanted to help grow like a small company?
Yeah.
That's pretty legit.
Totally on top of it, super quick, taking care of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most efficient I've ever seen our government.
Wow.
It's been impressive. She's amazing. She's here in Denver. She may be someone for you to talk to.
Okay.
She's asked to meet up with me for coffee and do some other stuff. So
nice.
That's what she specializes in. There's only 5 of them in the company.
Really?
In the office here in Denver.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And each one specializes in a different commodity or good.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like good for you guys.
Yeah. It's going. Again, the message you sent, we'll be talking about the struggles, but our marketing and brand awareness is not where it should be.
Yeah.
We redid the website, it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, just marketing's been kicking our ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
I guess that's a good segue. Why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself, kind of who you are, who you're with, so that the one day listeners out here will know who we're talking to.
Austin Lockard, I'm the founder of Ethos, which is a human performance company.
Yeah.
So our mission is to improve the mind.
Yeah.
In terms of mindset and then health. A lot of the focus in terms of health and wellness has been on exercise and activity. Obviously that improves cognitive function, etc. But supplementation typically has been targeted not at the mind, but just in terms of the body holistically.
Right.
And so we're trying to change that. And then also mindset. So we have certain values within our company.
Okay.
So universal greatness. So if we work together, greatness can be universally achieved, but also that every person on earth is capable of greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm tired, again, you've probably heard a lot about it on a lot of people, thought leaders and whatnot, talk about it on Instagram and whatnot. It's good to get the ideas out there, but there's not much, it's inspiring, and that's what I like, and I sent you a message, the videos that you've been making where it's actionable items, and that's what we're trying to do, is rather than just being inspiring and whatnot, it's actually getting to the nitty-gritty details of that mindset and how to actually change it.
I think that's what people need, right? People need some type of structure, but they need actionable steps, right? You can be inspired and motivated, but that motivation doesn't always translate. It's easy to lose motivation, But when you have like these habits that can stack on each other, that's where like it leads to that greatness that you're talking about, right? Because then you can put in actionable steps, and then those gain momentum, and then that momentum turns into a lifestyle, and then that lifestyle allows you to contribute to the world.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's not the same way. Yeah, exactly. Willpower. It's not a limitless well.
Yeah.
So the only way that it's sustainable, and that's, again, what we're trying to achieve with our products are, so right now it's supplements. We develop products that focus on ability. And I look at ability in two different ways. So it's performance and productivity. So kind of the magnitude and impact side of things. So performance being how well you do something, and then productivity of how much you do while doing it well. So it's those two, bringing them together and combined, that's ability.
Right.
And so our goal is to enhance people's ability within this world in whatever they choose to pursue.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to do that is like the habit stacking, again, and building this element of discipline around products, but also mindset and pursuits.
Absolutely. So when was Ethos founded?
Ethos was founded technically January 2018.
Okay.
We did not launch our first product until June of this year, end of May. The reason was we weren't going to just throw something together with that was kind of popular, trendy, and whatnot. So we took a year to test the product, different variations, and manufacturers, different dosages, ingredients, etc.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we finally launched in June, and then we're finishing up 2 other products.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Those look.
Right.
I mean, I'm excited about that. I mean, I'm a big fan of, and I'll link this in the notes of your work product. I feel like I was introduced to this by a mutual friend, Kevin.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, you gotta give this stuff a shot." Right? I was like, "All right." And I remember meeting you for the first time, and you showed up. You're like, "Yeah, I just got off the plane. I think from Salt Lake."
So I had to go and pick up our product.
Yeah.
Because we were ready to launch, we were ready to sell it. Their warehouse manager was on vacation, so it was going to be delayed 2 weeks. And so I flew into Salt Lake at 5 a.m., picked up the product, and I was back here by 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're the first person to get the first jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally landed at the airport, hopped back in my car, and said, "Going Joe straight here," and brought you here.
That was so awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was the first one.
First.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you wear a lot of hats, right? I hate that's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but you sound like you have a lot of jobs within the company. And I'll tell you, when you delivered that to me, along with the handwritten note in there, to me that went a long way. It said a lot about you guys and what you're trying to do, and just the product itself, because the product lived up and exceeded all my expectations, and I mean that. But you're growing a business,
Right.
and I can't imagine it's all been fun.
No.
No.
Not even close.
So tell me about, and you said you launched the company started in January of 2018, but the idea probably was it before
way
that?
Before that.
Way before that.
Actually.
What started that?
So what influenced it, there were a couple of factors that influenced it. One, mindset. So I was one of those people, fixed mindset. I mean, I know it's used a lot, but Carol Dweck. Fixed mindset, I was stuck. A lot of negative self-talk, I knew I could be better and do better, and I wasn't achieving that. And so the way that I was going about it wasn't working. So I decided to put myself in a super uncomfortable position outside my comfort zone. I was like, I'm going to launch a company.
Yeah.
And then the 2 factors that influenced the direction was my grandfather, who I'm super close to. He has severe Alzheimer's. So it's gotten to the point he doesn't recognize people in our family. And when you research Alzheimer's, there's a lot of, they've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars on research. And and not to take away from the research that they've done, the discoveries they've made, but they haven't gotten to a point to see a solid ROI on the funding for that research. They still have too many questions about it. There's no medication to prevent or delay the onset of Alzheimer's. There's just kind of strategies and approaches on how to handle it.
Right.
So that was a big factor. So I started researching, obviously, the pharmaceutical side, but also the holistic side. So diet, exercise, supplements, things like that. And then I took because my grandfather had severe Alzheimer's, the joke in my family is you're identical. You look like him, you act like him, you could be his twin. That got me thinking nowadays with technology and genetic mapping, I was like, I should probably see if there's some type of genetic mutation that would cause me to develop Alzheimer's as well.
Right.
Turns out I do.
Yeah.
So there's an allele called the Apoe gene, and there are different variants of it. So there's Apoe E2, and it's always split. So E2, 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 E3, 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 and then et cetera, and then E4, E4. E2, E2 lowers your risk by 40%.
Okay.
E3, E3 increases your risk 2x. E4, E4 increases your risk of Alzheimer's 12x. I have E4, E4.
Okay.
So that was a reality check for me.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden the clock started counting down. So the life that I thought, the amount of time that I thought I had to all of a sudden accomplish things, and obviously we, throughout our lives we'll continue to grow and improve ourselves, but that timeline drastically shortened. So if I were to mirror the onset of Alzheimer's to my grandfather, I just lost probably 15 years.
Yeah.
So now,
I would imagine that's a pretty big wake-up call.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
So now that's when I hadn't registered the company, I hadn't approached anybody about investing, and I raised $150,000 in I think a month and a half. Got the company going, started the products, and then we did another round in June and raised another $500,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was my wake up call. So primarily again being stuck and not stepping out of my comfort zone, working the corporate life, seeing my grandfather just completely deteriorate.
Yeah.
And then basically the doctor sitting me down and saying, I'm gonna need to explain this to you.
So you said you had a fixed mindset before you've kind of ventured into this. Was that moment when you started to pursue this, and then the doctor, gave you the information that you were similar to your grandfather?
Yeah.
Did that change your mindset, or was that still some additional work that you had to do on your own?
I still had additional work.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's why it's fixed, right? You anchor it in. That mindset is anchored in based on obviously external factors. So what people tell you, your interactions with other people, or certain experiences. For me, so I've always had I had a visual processing disorder that in high school that I had to go to the doctor to work on. Started with ADD, ADHD. I was that crazy kid growing up that in order for my mom to even be able to handle me, she would go out in the car and drive laps around our neighborhood, and I'd chase the car, just to wear me out. And then, just in school, I wasn't the greatest.
Right.
I mean, grades heavily influenced, I was kind of like a B, C student. And that just kind of anchored in that mindset. So it's a lot of, I don't want to say self-discovery, because I kind of knew who I was, but evolution.
Yeah.
So evolving or forcing an evolution of perspective of looking out, but also looking in.
Yeah.
And I think the only way that you can ever accomplish that looking in is it's not someone else telling you you're the only one that can do it.
That's one of the things not to get too off topic here, but that's one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is oftentimes we go to other people for advice. And the reality is we already know what to do.
Right.
Right? And one of the things that I've tried to implement recently is observing the observer. So I'm observing myself, right, of the actions I'm taking. And that only happens when I can feel the emotions that are going on, and I can take myself out of that.
Yep.
Right? And that's step one. But step two is observing the observer who's observing the emotion.
Yep.
And that in that moment you can really kind of start to capture the whole picture and evolve into understanding yourself better. And that leads to that self-exploration.
100%.
So I think that's such a big part of getting out of that fixed mindset. It's just learning to observe things and not judging them for what they are.
Yeah.
Just allowing them to be you growing up, right? You talk about how you had, you're very active, right? There's nothing wrong about that,
no.
Right? It is what it is. But a lot of people are told that that's bad or that's wrong. It's it's not. It's just it is.
It is.
Right.
But you don't know that as a kid.
No.
And then you make it a part of yourself. But you're 100% right. And the other thing that I found was, it wasn't necessarily self-discovery, because I kind of knew what was going on.
Right.
I'd spent that time, and that's the other element that a lot of people don't want to factor in, is the time that it takes. So you're talking about observing the observer, developing that skill and truly understanding it, and then taking the time to do it. A lot of people just want a quick fix. That's why they go to people for advice. It's always good to get advice and get another perspective. But they want it. I mean, we live in a world of instantaneous gratification, right? That's what we always pursue. And it frustrates people when they actually have to take more time to change.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had this moment where you realized everything's, your timeline's, as you put it, shortened. You have this motivation to start this company.
Yeah.
So January 2018 hits, and that's when the company is put together.
Correct. Take
me from there to where you are now, and some maybe your highlights and some of the moments, in that period of time that where you're just like, you're down in the dumps, right?
Yeah. So it was the way it started was not very scientific. My background, so my degree's in chemistry. I worked as an R&D chemist for years. So I took that knowledge and the experiences I had there and implemented it into product development. And it literally started with me and a laptop and just doing research in terms of ingredients and medical studies and clinical studies. Mm-hmm. Again, I didn't want to do it based on trends. I didn't look up keywords and which supplements were performing the best. I wanted the ones that were performing the best in clinical studies and academic studies. So I took that, and it was literally me, laptop, and my bedroom. I had a desk in my bedroom. I was there for the first 6 months. That's where I did everything. I bought a scale. I bought all the ingredients that I thought would work. One rule that we have is nothing is half-assed. So just like pharmaceuticals, where you are given a prescription based on efficacy, we do the same. There's the same approach with supplements. So when it comes to clinical and academic studies, they test certain dosages, and they're like, actually, this is the dose that works, this is the dose that works. Well, since the supplement industry is unregulated, a lot of people will just throw the product in there in a very low amount that basically has no value to you. Mm-hmm. It's just so that they can put the name on the label and then advertise it.
Gotcha.
We were not going to do that. So it was finding the right dosage, like the minimum and the maximum that we could accomplish, taking into consideration people's natural diets and what they consume. Got a scale, got some whey boats, got some empty capsules, and a little machine that encapsulated the product for me. I just started testing it myself. So for 6 months, I think I went through 28 different formulations until I found the one that I liked. And then I basically approached friends and family. I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've made. Kind of disclaimer, like this is the ingredient list. So I didn't give it to anybody unless they gave their form to their doctor who signed off on it. Right. Because I didn't want them interacting with any medications or anything like that. And then I basically got a blind study going and just started testing with friends and family. And then again, probably 3 variations later. So now we're at 9 months. I'm still in a bedroom, but now I'm moved, but I'm in a basement. Yeah. And then I hired my first 2 employees. So I hired Brent Toddy out of LA, and then we brought in a young woman named Erica to help run our marketing. And that was kind of it. I mean, it literally started in a bedroom, testing on myself. Got to the point where I thought we had a quality product, and then experimenting with friends and family. And then we did a pilot batch that we had made, handed that out to more people, and then we finally produced the product. But that's a very high-level view, very unglamorous. I mean, you always hear the jokes like Apple started in a garage and all that. I mean, that's basically what it was. Right. So I'd wake up, make my bed, and then literally walk 2 feet to my desk, and that was my day. And I'd typically be there for 16 hours.
Would you say your why is your grandfather? Like, that's why you're doing this?
I would say he is my motivation, but my why is people. I love people. And I hate it when people, and I've seen it with friends, I've seen it with family, where they're living a life, and people tend to complain, and they're complaining about their life, and I just know, I'm like, you can do so much more.
Yeah.
And the world that we live in, we always, the news, all that, it's everything that's wrong. And I love there are certain companies out there that are highlighting what people are doing that are great.
Right.
But it's getting people to do that themselves, not just like, oh, that person's awesome, making them a hero, whatever. I want everybody to have that feeling that they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. And I think hearing what you went through and the reason why you're doing it in real estate, right? So as a realtor, I spend a lot of time alone. And this is not, I'm not dosing anything, I'm not doing anything, but I do spend a lot of time by myself, right? Making sure that my business, not just helping people find homes, but right, that I'm having the right outreach, that I'm doing this for the right reason, that I'm deconstructing my processes to make sure that my clients feel it's special and they feel important.
Yeah.
But that leads to a lot of lonely times.
Yeah.
A lot of time by yourself. And we talked about greatness. Like, if you're trying to achieve greatness, anything in your life, loneliness is its cousin.
Right.
And it's a very close cousin. Did you feel pretty kind of by yourself and alone throughout this whole thing?
I'm completely open. I feel like that's the goal of Ethos too, is to be transparent.
Yeah.
Mental health was not good. February last year was probably one of the toughest times of my life. That was a definite low.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate for seeking help, psychologists, psychiatrists. So I go and see a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Mental health. I was by myself all the time. Depression comes with loneliness, self-doubt. I mean, again, reverting back to that fixed mindset of like, what am I doing? And then getting that reinforced by even other people, where I, like friends and family, and I'm like, will you try this? This is what I'm trying to do. And they look you in the eye and they're like, what makes you think you can even do this? What makes you so special? And that's when, you try not to listen to that outside noise, but you're just like, yeah, you're right. Why am I the one that's trying to pursue this? Why am I qualified? Yeah. So the loneliness was a big thing. For me, I found ways around it. One of them being, I'm a huge animal person.
Okay.
So, dog.
Yeah, that helps.
100%.
My sister, so when I got out of the military, I was struggling with PTSD pretty bad. And I went to see a therapist. Still see one. Many different ones, actually. And my sister was always like, she's like, just get a dog. She's like, if you get a dog, you'll feel better. And the second I got a dog, it's like, no matter what, well, that and a fiance, she's great too. But the dog, right, she, no matter what, if I'm having a bad day, it always just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So
unconditional love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You want to counteract depression and loneliness, unconditional love, and that's what you get from a dog. And I have the best dog in the world. So that, and then stepping outside of yourself, because I think one of the best ways to counteract lows, you get in that low because you're so focused on the negatives of yourself, and you just dwell on it. And so to get away from that is you need to focus on someone else.
Yeah.
So the other thing I started doing was I volunteer. So I work with SEAL Future Foundation. It helps Navy SEALs transition from the military to the private sector, getting into school. A lot of them join the Navy straight out of high school. So getting them into school, Wharton, Harvard, getting them jobs, introducing them to the community. So I'll get emails saying this Navy SEAL and his wife, X number of kids, ages, are moving to Denver. We need you to set them up with recommendations for schools, real estate agents, doctors, cars, etc. And that's another way that I counteracted that. But I would say, to get back on subject, when you we did the high level view and talking about the lows, when you start a company, and I'm sure with what you do as well, it comes in all forms. So a big low that consistently presents itself for me is self-doubt.
Yeah.
And the loneliness, because it is a lot of long hours. Trying to stick to obligations and commitments. So like I have a girlfriend, and she's been amazing. But having that time, having to call her and be like, look, I'm on a deadline. I have to get this done. I can't hang out tonight, or I can't do dinner tonight, or I can't go to that party with your friends.
Right.
So I've missed out the number of potentially, special experiences I could have had, missed out on a lot for sure. And then again, just like, so the lows come, so we're talking about lows in terms of like personal, but then lows also come from business, right?
Absolutely.
So then that just comes flooding in, and so
they happen at the same time usually,
right? Yeah. So you're, like, say the real estate market is slow, and you're just like, so you're already feeling, down because of the way things are going personally, and you feel like you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough, you're not learning enough, you don't know enough, and then to add to that, all of a sudden the market's down and it's harder to push forward. It's just roadblock after roadblock. And the same thing with us. We launched the company, we had all these pre-orders, things were going really well, and then it just took a nosedive. So our marketing wasn't going anywhere. We weren't getting the sales that we needed. My investors were pissed. I was not happy with the health of the company. And then you start getting desperate, and when you start making decisions based on desperation, that's when you put yourself in compromising situations and sink yourself even lower.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've made any of those decisions that have sank you even lower? Or are you able to pull out of that?
No, I've definitely made those decisions that sank me even lower. Yeah. Thinking money can fix things. Yep. Right? If I just spend this amount of money on advertising or on these assets, it'll make our company kind of like cutting edge and bring people in. That's not the answer. Right. There's no strategy behind it. You're not experimenting. You don't even have a foundational hypothesis for the experiment. Right. So that's where I've done it, especially with starting a business, thinking that money can fix startup woes or problems. Yeah. And it puts you in an even more compromising situation. It does. So now are you not only making sales, you're unhealthy mentally and physically, and you put your business at risk because now you don't have money. Right. And I appreciate you being fully transparent on that and vulnerable, because I've done the same thing. Like, I've made investments on stuff that I thought would help grow my business, and it was because this is speaking for me, I just wasn't willing to do the work, so I was trying to find an easy fix. Yeah. And I just, this is the beginning, I was just like, I guess I have to do this. And it didn't work out, and it sucked, but I learned so much from it. And I wouldn't call it a regret, but it's like one of those things where it's like, next time when that opportunity presents itself again, I won't be so easy to just be like, yep, here. I'd be like, no, let's figure out and see if this is actually something that aligns with where I want to go. Comes with a strategy. Yeah. Yeah. And part of that too is when you are in those situations. So I've done the same thing, but mine was, I had a little bit of a different mindset. So you said you're trying to find an easy fix, whatnot. So the other thing is a certain amount of ego and pride. Your ego becomes a huge factor or variable in starting a business, or even your success in life, right? So you dismiss opportunities because they're below you, or that's not something that you should be doing. I can't tell you how many times in business where I've spent money because I thought I was above a task, or because I'm the founder, I shouldn't be doing it. So you have to, it's been a process of learning, again, taking care of myself mentally. Yeah. What to actually focus on, right? Because there's always a negative and positive, and you just brought it up. On the lows, you're typically focusing on the negatives and everything's going wrong. But if you can change your mindset a little bit and focus on what you actually learned, that is the one thing that I found that actually pulls me out of that rut. Absolutely. Yeah, otherwise you just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. But if you focus on what you learned, that knowledge is going to pull you out and get you back to where you need to be, and then you can start working your way up the mountain. Yeah. That's one of the things I've been really trying to do recently. Like, I'm here to, one of my coaches says, doubt your fears, don't doubt your dreams. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, if I'm going to believe in my fears, I might as well believe in my dreams too. Right? So let's just flip that. And when the dark times do happen, right, if you're able to find some way of being grateful for that, or the silver lining in there, that can have a huge impact in the steps and the decisions that you make for the next couple days, next couple weeks, next couple months. So those lessons are crucial. Absolutely. And then it's also a matter of substantiation, right? So like what you just said, that's something I learned, again, the hard way. where you have these fears and these doubts, and because we're human, we love to fill the void or the narratives, right? So we make our own reality. So we have a fear and we have a belief. Because it's within us, we accept it as truth. Rather than sitting down and, like you said earlier, observing the observer, rather than sitting down or even being an observer of our doubts and beliefs or our doubts and fears, rather than sitting, what we should do is sit down and dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us, we're just like, it's there for a reason, and because it's there, it's the truth, and I need to be wary of it, and I need to accept it. Rather than writing it down and saying, what is facilitating this? And often, when you break it down and dissect it, you're like, there's no foundation to this.
None. It's usually the ego.
It's the ego.
It's afraid.
It's literally me creating something out of nothing.
Yeah.
You can't, and when you do that, you're like, I'm literally defying physics.
Right.
There is nothing. There is nothing there for this.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to, like we talked about, the negative stuff happens, and it's easy to buy into it. But one of the more important things as well is to celebrate the victories.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but one of the things that I struggle with is celebrating those victories and allowing myself to be proud of myself and to commend myself for the hard work I've done, and not be like cocky about it, but take a moment and be like, you know what, Sergio, good for you. You did something. You worked hard and it paid off. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you're proud of over the last 12 to 24 months? Things that, like, even if you didn't celebrate it, that you're just like, man, awesome. I'm proud of you.
Not quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The number of times that I wanted to quit. Not quitting. Surviving, I guess, in a way. Redefining success. I'm really proud of myself. I used to have a very elevated definition of what success, and we all define success. Unfortunately, nowadays we take outside factors when we look at other people, Instagram influencers, whatever, and see what they're spending money on. We define that influences our definition of success.
Yep. And
reevaluating that and just kind of bringing it back to earth and grounding it in order to celebrate victories big and small, because I wasn't celebrating the small victories and I was just beating myself up about it. So I'm pretty proud of bringing that in. And then another thing that I would say would probably be relationships.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
So I always approached, not always, but growing up, so I was homeschooled. I struggled to make friends. I went to 2 different high schools. I wasn't kicked out, but my first high school I needed to leave. Wasn't in a good situation there. I just struggled to make friends and build relationships. Yeah. And I actually had to study it, like how to interact with people. I was naturally introverted, but I also didn't build some of the skills I needed to, like middle school and early high school, to actually build quality relationships.
Yeah.
And so based on the way that I studied them, was often like communicating with people in sales. So everything became transactional. All my relationships were transactional, rather than just like, I think it's Adam Grant who has the book, where you have givers and takers, and then those that are kind of in between. I always felt, again, it was that in between. You give and you get. It had to be that way.
Right.
And the only way a relationship was sustained was as long as those transactions continued to occur and they were balanced.
Okay.
A few years back, it had gotten to the point I basically had no friendships. I'm tough to get along with. I'm kind of a stickler, pretty serious guy, very focused, intense. And when you have someone like that that's trying to build a relationship with you and does something for you and expects the same in return, imagine trying to have a relationship with me. It can't.
It's an interesting dynamic. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and it makes it tough on the other person. They don't want to be involved in, so the relationship basically ends. So over the years, I've continued to work on it, but I think what really turned the corner for me was starting this company, right? So what led to it and how we operate. So again, my grandfather, and then my why, right? I do love people. I just I haven't always known how to interact with them and build quality relationships with them. And then when the focus of the company became people and trying to empower them and get them to places they could succeed, it just created a shift. Rather than expecting everything in return and just individual relationships, I realized that I could have broad relationships. Relationship is not defined by being between one human to another. It's different layers, and it's broad. So it's between you and I, it's between me and the environment, it's between me and my community, it's between me and the world.
Yeah.
And once I changed and I developed that mindset and that approach, it changed everything.
Yeah, I'm sure you go through too. Different relationships have different purposes, and different relationships. I mean, a lot of relationships go through phases, right? Like they're here now because whatever reason they're supposed to be here, and then they go away, and that's fine. It took me a long time to accept that,
right?
Because I felt like if a relationship kind of dissipated, it was my fault,
right?
And it's not, right? Like it's a two-way street here,
right?
But relationships, especially as you get older, they're harder to. I don't want to say they're harder, but it's more of an interesting dynamic, right? Because now you're doing all these things, you have all your own goals, and you're trying to maintain this relationship. You're trying to protect your time. So it's just a lot of factors that contribute to them. It's hard, but when you come back to your why, if you like people, right? And that's my same why. Is like growing up, my parents were taken advantage by a realtor, and I refuse to let that happen to anybody else. My why is to make sure that people are taken care of.
Yeah.
That's why I got out of the military. I started a CrossFit gym. That's why I got out of a CrossFit gym to start this company, right? My own company. And once you learn to kind of accept relationships for whatever they are, for me that was a changing point too.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So you've had this, in my opinion, right? I like what you guys have done. I like your new website. I like your product. You've had this success for the last 6 months of your product being launched. What are you guys planning to do over the next 6 to 12 months?
So we'll take our work product internationally, hopefully, negotiating a deal in South Africa.
Cool.
And then we'll be launching Rise and Rest. And so what we realized too was the human experience is influenced by nowadays because of how quickly we receive it and how important they are in our lives, but it's influenced by products, right? We don't want our products to make the human experience more difficult or challenging in terms of having to build habits around our product. We want to take a look and understand the habits that people already have and supplement those.
Yeah.
Right? They have some of those, the positive habits, right? If we can elevate those, we can elevate the person rather than having to change their whole dynamic.
Yeah.
So we're addressing that with Rise and Rest. So Rise will actually be a drink additive. You can do it to coffee,
nice.
tea, smoothies, whatnot. But it's multifaceted. So it approaches brain health, physical health, and then energy, right? But it also combines things that people naturally do. Like, do you take a multivitamin?
I do.
Okay, so taking some elements of that. So we'll actually be able to integrate two habits where you're drinking coffee and having to take a pill and making them one and the same.
Yeah.
Same with rest, right? So like a key variable in success and performance or ability is getting quality sleep. And nowadays a lot of people don't. We have phones that are in our faces until we're trying to go to sleep, TVs, sound, etc. And a lot of people, at least for myself, again, I don't sleep very well. And again, being completely transparent, I probably have abused sleep aids beyond belief in order to get that sleep. It's a problem I need to solve for myself, and it's a problem that I think other people have. So the sleep aid will actually be a soft gel, but we're also looking at a tea.
Oh, nice.
Right. So we're trying to, again, combine different habits, but it'll be a natural approach with, again, some proven ingredients, but it's the blend of ingredients to facilitate better sleep.
Absolutely.
And then with the launch of sleep, our goal right now is to team up with a sleep study lab. So rather than, again, just creating a product with ingredients that have, clinical and academic studies for those individual ingredients.
Yeah.
Now that we have the funding and the company's launched, we're going to start paying for our own studies to be done on our own products. And if they fail in the clinical and academic studies, then we're going to, take them off and rebuild.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I've done is about this Whoop band.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure. The thing is, I wanted to track my sleep and my recovery. I mean, I abuse my body in the sense that I work out too hard, which I'm paying for now. I don't sleep enough, and it's finally catching up to me. So I got this because I wanted to track my sleep, and I wanted to track my recovery and make sure that I was working out in an optimal strain. And I know this isn't perfect, but it's better than nothing.
Right.
Right. And you talk about rise and rest, right? Having those habits, right? Because they're habits, right? And they don't have to be part of your life, but you make it easy, right? Those are the things that will help, in my opinion, help me achieve what I'm trying to do, and that's optimal performance, right? Because the thought of being able to take something that I can put in my coffee and drink and get multiple benefits from, to me that's a no-brainer. That makes my life easy. I'm doing what I want to do to achieve optimal performance, right? And then at night when I know I need to go to sleep, I've been trying to get 8 hours of sleep recently, but I'm going to bed at 7:30. I'm I need to be more efficient with my work. So that's where this comes into play, right? I have that focus during the day, but at night I have my night routine, and part of that is either sleepy time tea, which I drink, or taking some type of melatonin because I have a hard time, staying asleep. And so melatonin's great, but that's just one part. I know magnesium plays a big role in it too. If I'm misspeaking, please correct me. But there's other things that also can contribute to restfulness.
Correct.
Right? And it sounds like going through these clinical studies and really testing these things to see if they're going to work out, this is going to be a better version of the things that I'm using now, right, to try and self-dose myself.
Yeah, because I hate dishonesty. I don't want to say I'm a gullible person, but I'm not great at telling if, again, I'm an introvert, I'm science background, it's kind of black and white for me. I hate it when I can't tell if something's being true, if there's a truth to it or not.
Right.
So a lot of the advertising, so like I said, with our products, like you said, it's a matter of developing products rather than just saying that they do something, showing that they actually do it.
Yeah.
And then with the sleep, so all of our products and the approach of our company is studying success. So we study other people's success and ability. What factors contributed to that? What are other people doing in order to get there, similar to these other people? And how can we develop tools and products that can further facilitate them in those dreams?
Yeah. And
getting to where they need to be.
Absolutely.
So that's what we do with every product. And we won't be just supplements. My ultimate dream and goal of Ethos will actually be a technology company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you're talking about your wearables. I want to be integrating Bluetooth technology into clothing. I think that most people wear clothes to bed.
Yeah.
But, having a wearable that's Bluetooth connected to your phone, but also the clothing that you're wearing, not just, they can control temperatures of your bed.
Right.
But there's an optimum temperature for you to sleep. So imagine having clothes being able to facilitate that for you.
Yeah.
Or say, knowledge is power. We're in because of technology and the digital age, everything is exponential now. And the human mind is struggling to keep up because there's kind of this archaic, ancient process for learning, and we're doing whatever we can to facilitate faster learning that's more ingrained. And one thing that has been proven is experiential learning, right? I love books. I'm an avid reader. You are too. You can only get so much from that. In order to shorten the feedback loop, right? The feedback loop is what actually creates memories and learning. To transition from short-term to long-term, you need to utilize what you learn in order to create a transition that's quicker.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that. They read the book, oh, that's nice, and then they try and implement it later on. So what we're going to try and do is utilizing, and again, AI is a term that's used, I don't think we're quite there yet because we need quantum computing, but multi-layered algorithms that allow to shorten the feedback loop. but integrating every aspect of our lives in terms of learning and education in a virtual or augmented reality world.
Okay.
So, perfect example, airline pilots. What do they do to train?
Simulators.
They're in simulators all the time. That's
right.
how we create some of the best pilots in the world.
Yeah.
And they are damn good at their jobs. So imagine if we can take that approach and apply it to everything and then put it in schools. So imagine as a kid, I'm sure you sat in a history class and you looked at pictures.
It's the only class that put me on academic probation at the academy.
Really?
History class.
History?
Well, I had a girlfriend at the time and I was texting her in class, but that was the class that I texted her during. Anyway.
That's a little
So maybe if I had this.
Yeah, but I mean, so imagine this. So imagine you're a kid though. Imagine you're, 9-year-old Sergio and you're in history class and you look and your teacher's talking about Washington crossing the Delaware and you're just looking at a book and you see a photo.
Yeah.
Right? That's very superficial and it's up to you to, again, and what we learned, it's highly dependent on emotions. There's no emotional connection to that. You see a teacher's talking, cool. Photo, fine, whatever. But if you can make it an emotional and interactive experience, so imagine you're 9 years old now, and you're sitting in class, you're wearing Bluetooth clothing that's connected to a computer system that the teacher controls, and you wear a pair of virtual reality goggles. You're no longer looking at photos on a screen and in a textbook. You're sitting in a boat that's moving.
Yeah.
There are people in the boat with you. George Washington is at the stern, and you can hear him speaking. You can interact with everybody. Your clothing is cooling down. You can feel it can create sensations like the wind's blowing against you.
Wow.
Now it's an emotional experience. You're not going to forget that.
No.
Chemistry. You're looking at pictures of, chemical compounds and molecules and chemical reactions.
Right.
Imagine putting on an augmented reality. You're interacting with your classmates in a lab and your teacher, and before you perform the experiment, due to augmented reality, you're actually able to simulate the chemical reaction, but it's animated. Now you actually know what you're freaking doing, rather than, because a lot of it, chemistry, you can't see it.
Right.
You can just see the result, what is yielded, that's it. You can't, that's why people struggle with chemistry and hate it. It's because they don't understand what's happening in between.
Yeah.
But now you have technology and a system that allows you to learn that.
So you bring that to life so that people can
life.
see the whole process.
Bring it to life.
Interesting.
Yeah. So imagine let's think of an example in real estate.
Right.
Right. So imagine finding a way to simulate a seasonal experience at a house that you're trying to sell. Right. So you should show houses during certain times of year and whatnot. Imagine being able to create an emotional walkthrough of the house. Okay. So you have clients that come in and you put on virtual reality goggles. I mean, imagine, you stage anyways to make the house feel warmer and more of a connection, but imagine if you could simulate celebrating Christmas.
I love that you said that, because one of the questions that I ask people when they're buying their home is, what is your favorite holiday?
Yeah.
Because I know that when we go into a home and they start to sit down on the furniture, I can usually tell that they really like a house before they do, just because of their interactions, the way they start to change. But one of the questions I always ask, right, based on your favorite holiday, and usually I'd say 80% of the time it's Christmas. I ask them, I go, could you envision where you would put your Christmas tree here? And they all go, yeah, right there. But to your point, I give them, hey, let's tour this through these lenses. It could be July 4th weekend. We have glasses on, and they can see the snow falling outside, the tree here. They can, who knows, maybe they can smell cookies or hear the snow or whatever. And it puts them into this period of time where they can see what their family would look like.
Yeah.
To me, that's powerful.
Yeah. So rather than seeing the present, help them envision the future. Because that's what Ethos is all about, right? It's about envisioning what you can do and what you can do for the world, creating products in that way. And we will pursue that in whatever form or fashion, supplementation, technology, whatever.
That's great. I like the direction that you guys are going.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that I was one of the first. I had no idea that I was the first.
You were literally the first.
I feel like, I feel very honored, honestly.
No, we appreciate it, and you've been an amazing supporter ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't thank you enough.
You're welcome, and I only support you because, one, I like your product, and two, the note that you wrote me every time I've ever purchased it means more to me than you'll know, And it's something that I've stolen for my own business and done the same thing. And I just want to know, I want you to know how appreciative I am of that, because I think it really set you apart and it felt very personal. So
Appreciate it. And that's so, my investors get frustrated a little bit, and people always ask, like, why don't you use a fulfillment company? I'm like, the moment we use fulfillment is the moment I can't write a note.
Yeah.
We're not just selling a product to a person, like just to a customer. It's someone that has goals, and they're obviously buying it for a person, and they have trusted us, and we deserve to acknowledge them for who they are and what they're trying to do. Everybody, and so that's what I tell everybody that works for me. So like when I was out of the country and just got back, I told the guy that was fulfilling boxes for me, I said, every box gets a note. They need to know that you care and that you're there if they have any problems.
I'll tell you this, people, I mean, you already know this, people aren't going to remember what you did for them, they're going to remember how you made them feel.
Yep, 100%.
And so to me, even my fiance was like, wow, that's a special touch. I mean, she's in tech, she's launching products for Visible, which is a cool company. And she saw that, she saw about the experience, and like this to me was on par with like a Ritz-Carlton, like Disney experiences. Like it felt just like I was your only customer. So that was really cool. So I know once you take this, very worldwide, it may change, but as long as you can do it, I think it's an amazing touch.
I think there's certain things that won't change though.
Yeah.
I think that's one of them.
Cool.
I mean, it doesn't have to be notes from me. I'll still, as we grow, and we've grown enough to where it is hard for me, but I'm big on block scheduling. And so I have an assigned block to where if the orders are going out later in the day, so at the end of each day, that's when I sit down and I write the notes. But I think there's certain things that, it may not be the most scalable.
Yeah.
But just because it's not scalable doesn't mean it's not important.
Right.
And so whether it's me writing the note or someone else, a note will be written by an Ethos employee.
I love that.
And then same with, so the other thing is the packaging. I feel like everything in life should have a purpose. The way that we interact with people, the way we sleep, the way we work, everything needs to have purpose and appreciated. So like as simple as the packaging, we're trying to figure out a way what I have labeled purposeful packaging. So we were trying to negotiate a deal with Google where we were going to try and have this in their offices, and didn't quite work out. But the idea that I had with them, which I'm going to eventually try and take further, you've got a plant in here, several plants. We were going to do what was called Google Gardens. So similar to that packet, it was going to be made out of paper, but it was going to have seeds so that the packaging was plantable. I'm a huge believer in nature.
Yeah.
And what it does for our health.
Right.
And so again, we're trying to take the packaging and find, rather than people just throwing stuff away. Yeah. So improving that experience for them.
The whole thing's an experience.
And the one thing that I forgot to mention earlier, because you were asking about motivation, there's a quote that sums up my why. I'm not going to say it exactly. Probably shouldn't memorize it word for word. It's from Les Brown.
Okay.
Right. The wealthiest place is a graveyard. It's the place where books are unwritten, ideas never shared, inventions never made or discovered, and love never given. Graveyard is the wealthiest place. That's where dreams go and die because people never pursue them, and I want to make that not the case.
Yeah. I mean, full transparency here, Austin and I have known each other for a few months. But like that quote makes me realize that you and I are so much similar than I originally thought we were, because I feel the same way. Like my biggest fear is that I don't live up to my potential.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that I don't tell somebody that I care about them when I could have. And so honestly, I've just said, fuck it. I don't care how I look. Like I have a lot of things that I want to say, a lot of messages that I want to share, which sparked this whole thing, which sparked this, which sparked my social media, which sparked, just me just finally just being me, because I didn't care. And it's because I didn't want to be in the graveyard with something that I was going to regret. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And it's acknowledging your value.
Yeah.
Everybody has something to contribute.
Absolutely. Back to your greatness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who's your ideal client? Like I guess it could be anybody, but if you had to have like an avatar of a candidate of somebody that you would think would benefit from this, who is that person?
So like, I mean, we made it for everybody, but it's the person, and it's not a gender,
right?
It's not an age. It's a stage of life. If you're not willing to pursue greatness or become the best you can be, our product's not for you. Don't take it. Don't buy from us.
Right.
If you feel stuck and you're ready to do more, you're ready to take that next step, we're there for you. That's our ideal person. It's a stage of life, but also it's a decision, right? They're at that point where they've decided enough is enough.
Yeah.
And it's a thirst.
Yeah. I think that stage can happen multiple times in somebody's life. It's happened to me multiple times.
Absolutely. So that's why I didn't want to say like,
I'm
50 years old.
You nailed it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's the person that they know they're ready for the next stage or phase of their life, and they're ready to take that step.
That's powerful. That's awesome.
That's our ideal person.
Cool.
If you're not there, don't. And then it's also the person that strives continuously day in, day out.
Yeah.
To be great or do something and have their best days ever. I feel like that naturally comes with the person that's already made that decision to move forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. No, that's powerful. I mean, and that resonates with me because there's been multiple stages in my life where I was like, I've had enough, what's next? And it wasn't like I wasn't grateful, I wasn't happy where I was at. I just knew there was more. And I'm in that stage now where like I've grown this business and I'm very happy with it. But I have so much left in me, right? Which is exactly why when Kevin told me about this, I was like, I want to see what this is about.
Yeah.
And I truthfully believe it's given me the ability to focus on the things I want to focus on. I don't want to say mental edge because that sounds like the wrong thing, but for lack of better terms, I just feel like I'm able to show up and do the work, no pun intended. And like, it's just like one of those things where it's just like repeatable every day. And I don't feel like I have to have it, right? It's not like, I want to make that very clear. Like, this isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, I need it. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I know when I've taken it because it allows me to accelerate my work schedule.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
And some of the things, and I think maybe we created it for like two purposes, obviously, for the focus element and the energy and motivation, but also the brain health side. So some of it too, you won't necessarily feel. But it is, and that's why we made it, again, being completely transparent for our company is our product isn't right for everybody. You don't have to take it every day. Our company is the company that we want to be the people that you turn to and the products that you use when, again, you're ready to improve and keep moving forward. And in the notes that I write in every order, and I haven't had anybody take me up on it, I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest. I don't know if they feel like it's genuine or not, but I end every note with, if there's anything else that you need or any questions just with what you're doing, life, whatever, call us, email us.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like myself and the people that we know and the experience we have something we can be of value to that person, whether it's an introduction or advice or even sending a book. That's what we're there for, and what our products are there for.
Well, somebody's taking you up on it, and that's me.
That's you, yeah.
Because I want to acknowledge you for just taking the second to sit down with me. Like, this is something that I needed, and this is self-serving for me because I wanted to promote you because I believe in you and Brent and your team for what you're doing. So I know this isn't maybe exactly what you had in mind, but I needed something, and so thank you.
No, yeah, I appreciate it, and like I said, I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
And I hope more people will.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Like, because we've had some people download it, but kind of like a productivity planner that's free that you can download on the website, things like that. If people are, if you want recommendations for books, and again, even like introductions, I want to be that person that people can turn to, not just as a company, but that we have people inside of the company.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Ethos community is in its infancy, and it's going to grow. I think when you're able to capture all those people into one area, whatever that looks like, whether that's digital or in an actual sit-down meeting, that's when the magic will happen.
Yeah. But even like an example that pertains to you is someone reaching out and saying, I want to pursue a career in real estate. Okay, I'm not the person, but I know someone, so I'll say, listen, I got some videos that you need to check out, and then you have a person you need to talk to.
Yeah.
His name's Sergio. Here's his contact info. Talk to him.
Absolutely. And that's the way it works, right? Yeah. It's like helping people, not only through this, but through the level of community, achieve their greatness.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Getting them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
In whatever way possible.
Absolutely. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wish I would have asked you today?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we covered, the most important parts. I think the lows, that's always a conversation that needs to be had, because it's there's always a certain element of glamour that people assign to startups and having your own business, and I think bringing it back to earth and what we discussed, again, mental health. I've struggled with depression, struggled with loneliness.
Yeah.
I've had days where I haven't wanted to work. I'm not a workhorse every single day. I struggle also. I take my own product, but even then, it's not a cure-all.
Right.
So you still have those days where you're not as productive as you should be. Struggled with negative self-talk. And then, we talked about kind of the ways that we've gotten out of those ruts. Yeah. And then as the last thing I'll bring up is Ethos too. So not only do we're working to support other people, our people that purchase from us, interact. We try and take that a step further. We've identified 3 different nonprofits that we actually donate a % of all of our sales to. So one being the Seal Future Foundation, the other Fisher Center for Alzheimer's Research.
Okay.
And then an environmental group that's located on the West Coast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have to send me those so that I can put these in so that people can be aware of that, because
Yeah.
I would love to let them know as well.
Yeah. So as a company, we have a social responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important that as a company, again, you got to be profitable, but we're in a position to contribute back.
I love that you guys do that.
It needs to not just be to people that purchase from us. It needs to be everybody.
That's awesome. Where can people find you?
So we have a new website. So
okay.
For the company, it's just Ethos, ETHOS.co, not .com.
Okay.
.co. On Instagram, Ethos Research.
Cool.
And then me personally, if you ever want to email me, talk to me, Austin, AUSTIN at ethos.co. My personal cell phone number. I always take phone calls from everybody, 405-517-1118. And then on Instagram, just Austin_Lockard.
Yeah.
LOCKARD.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you so much. I know you're a busy man, so thank you for taking the time to come out. I can't say enough about this, and I'm excited about your other products that you're coming out with, because I truly believe that I couldn't wrap my mind around why I like this. But when you talk about it's for the person who wants more, right? And it's for that phase of your life when you're ready to just take that next step. Like, I think you did a great job of capturing that. And so, yeah, man, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And so you've done a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's and that's where I think we just one more throw.
Yeah.
Where we differentiate a little bit. We aren't the key to your success. We are here to help you get there, and I think our products do that, but ultimately it's up to you. And it drives me nuts, and I'm not going to name competitors or other companies that are out there where they're like, this is what you need, this is the magic ingredient, and they're throwing it at you, and this is the fix. I don't believe that, and our company doesn't pursue it that way. It's up to you to ultimately accomplish it, and we'll be there to help. That's all.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Pretty amazing stuff out of Austin, wouldn't you say? I would say that this guy has very good clarity on exactly where he's going. The story of his grandfather and why he's creating this product is pretty incredible. What's even more incredible about this company is that every time they make a sale, they donate a percentage of each sale to the Alzheimer's Research Fund. They also create different donate to different environmental causes, and they also give back to veterans, which holds a very special place in my heart. If you're interested in finding more about Ethos, there will be their information on how to get in touch with them on social media and their website tagged below. So take a quick moment and check them out. As always, make today your best day yet, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.